to Carlos, who hasn't had one yet, and then we go back to Dr. Verrill, and then we have you, London.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, do you see any differences or changes in the way PHARMAC operate or perform between the first half of the financial year and the second half of the financial year?
Yeah, I do. I think probably one example I gave that was really useful, well, that I found useful, is the difference between the HRT patches and the CGMs and the level of patient engagement in those two processes. I think that shows how rapidly the board and the senior leadership team at PHARMAC have taken up the challenge of changing the way that they do things. I know this is only anecdotal, but certainly the feedback that I've had from people in patient groups, clinician groups, and vendors of treatments is that they've never seen anything like what's happened this year with the summit that we held and some of the engagements they've been having subsequently. They really feel that there is a change going on, and they're very pleased with the cultural changes that are happening. And I think the other big difference in this financial year, as I began with my opening statement, $604 million of additional medicines that they're buying. That's a lot of medicine. People at PHARMAC, they love buying medicines for Kiwis, and that's what they're doing.
So also in saying that, can you more specific, how to get abundant deal from other pharmaceutical company as well, like when you become the minister?
So how to get a
because one thing we know that we try to get a little bit more abundant deal from a pharmaceutical company, so we can provide cheaper medicine to the public as well. Can you collaborate a little bit more?
Well, look, not really, because that's what they do. I mean, these guys are very, very good at negotiating, working out what the other side needs, and what New Zealand patients want is what they do. And I don't get involved in any particular negotiation. I can't direct them to do something differently or pay these guys more or buy that. That would be very wrong. So you'd be much better to ask the chair or the chief executive about how they go about making those deals and bulk purchasing and so on.
So Chair, my last supplementary is, what other improvement we can expect with the long-term work program?
Well, I think I've gone through most of it. So the way that we budget, justifying getting more money for medicines by saving money elsewhere, the way that we relate to other organisations within the medical sector, and our role in relation to devices, all of those things are changing.
Thank you, all right, thank you, Dr. Cheung.
Okay, now there is a question that has to be asked, is why is he the chair of the committee? So every time a government goes into power, they can typically the government tends to have the chairs of most of the select committees. Some do by convention opposition control, but most of them are controlled by the government. And he was the one that was nominated for to be chair of the committee. Typically, because the proportionality of select committees have to be proportional to the representation of Parliament, often government MPs sit on more select committees than opposition MPs. And I mean, it's obvious considering about 25% of our legislature is in the executive. So you've only got 75%, so say 80% to sit on select committees. So that would do it, and that was who National chose to appoint as the chair for this particular select committee. To be honest, it's just a glorified role. It doesn't really matter. You have to have chair of select committee, and that was just who National sat there and chose to appoint.
I mean, yeah, judging by his history, it's probably best to keep him out of the way of things. they could cause controversy. Yeah, I can see Todd has done a good job keeping David away from PHARMAC, because David has barely got any answers to those questions. Good job, Todd.
Yeah.